Apieje Toa to help us appreciate some of the issues better. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. Is there anything wrong with national security operatives, should I say raiding or going into people's houses to search for things of interest?
Hi, Salam. Thanks for having me. And, on paper or in law, there's nothing wrong with it. There's a procedure, of course, that you have to follow. You need to obtain a search warrant, and that is where you have suspicion that a crime has been committed, and you need evidence to support the investigations to prove that indeed a crime has been committed and there's enough evidence to prefer charges against the suspect. And so in that case, you go to the court, usually a lower court, to get the search warrants which the judge will approve or the magistrate will approve, and then you proceed to the particular person or location to go and search for that particular evidence that the police or the security agency is looking for. So principally, that is the law. And so if that process is followed, then you cannot fault the action taken by the particular security agency or the Attorney General's office.
Because what we're hearing is that those processes were followed, at least from the Deputy Attorney General's remarks to the media. Search warrants were secured, the process was in accord with law, etc. But is this whole general discussion or conversation that such raids and searches must have a human face? Does the law know anything as human face?
Well, the law has. The law has, because and it's also about the nature of the political environment that we are in. You know, this is, first of all, the human face of the law. That is where human rights come into the picture. And so if due procedure is followed, of course, it leads to a violation or a disturbance of one's privacy. But most of our human rights that we enjoy are not absolute. There is a limitation to each of these freedoms and rights. So if for the sake of obtaining information or evidence in prosecution of a criminal offense or a suspected criminal offense or act, then that privacy issue can be suspended or limited to allow for that particular process to the search to proceed. But the human face is where you make sure that you do things in an orderly, civil manner, so that while the person's freedom is limited in that sense, according to law, the person will not feel violated. And so how you go there, the number of people you go there, the kind of military equipment or police guns and so on that you take there should be taken into account, because it depends on what you are looking for, and it depends on what you anticipate to be the resistance. And so if, for example, you are going to the home of a Bank of Ghana, a former Bank of Ghana governor, maybe he may have some security, but in most cases, these security people may not be armed. And so the kind of guns and other military equipment or gears that you take there will create the impression that you have the power, so you want to use that power for people to be intimidated. And so there are reports of possibly the family being traumatized and so on, which may therefore remove that human face element and may actually result in a violation of the person's rights. Because if that process, you may have the right to obtain the permit of the court, but if you don't follow a procedure that will respect some level of privacy of that person, some dignity that the person is entitled to, then you would have done something which goes beyond your powers, or how you have used your powers reasonably and in a dignified manner. And it's also become, the political environment is also important, because this is a new government that has come to power. And normally it has been the trend that when new government comes to power, it wants to assert itself and exert some influence. And so that, in a sense, can be described as naked abuse of power. And so from the public point of view, they may see it differently from the legal point of view. And so if the legal practice, the procedures are not followed with that human face, then the public may have the perception that something untoward has been done. And that is the same perception that's also emerged from the Oforiatta case. Even the timing when you go there can also make a difference. Maybe in the middle of the night, then you jump in there and so on. That can also affect whether you could be deemed to have abused your power or not.
I see. So what do you say about what we hear that the CCTV cameras were dismantled, etc.? Is that a normal way national security operatives
that is where
operate?
I have a problem. I'm not sure the AG's office would have said that when you go and destroy cameras and so on. I'm not sure the AG's office would have said when you go use force, extreme force or something. But I understand they suspected that there are some walls in the governor's house. So they wanted to know if these vaults are truly there and maybe what are the contents of the vaults. Now, having done that, with that as the focus of the search, if you go there and you use force to break into the house and so on, then means, as I said earlier, you would have violated that power that has been given you. In that sense, the fact that they took away some cameras and CCTV features or equipment, that may be an indication that they may have done something wrong by abusing the power that the court gave them to use to do the search. And so that raises some perception of naked abuse of power, and that is why they wanted to take those things away. And it wasn't part of what we were supposed to take away. If I'm just relying on the information in the public space, because I don't know the details, of course. But generally, you wouldn't expect them to take cameras and so on away. Okay, so in that sense, they may have done something untoward, which for that reason they want to hide that evidence, because it can lead to legal action being taken by the governor against the security forces that went to his residence.
I see. Thank you so much for this. I'm sure, I don't know, but perhaps of course, I don't know why. I don't know the content of the warrant they have and all of that. But is it not because in the previous one we saw in Ken Oforiatta's house, we saw footage and images of the persons who went there? Perhaps they did not want to be identified or known. Couldn't that be a reason?
It is possible. It is possible. You can speculate in that sense, yeah. But you cannot be firm and be categorical that is why they decided to take away the CCTV equipment.
Prof, thanks so much for speaking to us this evening. Professor Kojo Etua is a professor at the Ghana School of University of Ghana School of Law. He's been speaking to us on some of these issues, the issues that have arisen in the aftermath of the so-called search that was conducted at the residence of the former Bank of Ghana governor. Eyewitness News on 97.3 City FM. Babamu in Tamale says this